Guys, welcome. Yes, this is my first recording via Zoom and YouTube simultaneously. It's wonderful. And today, I'm going to introduce you to a beautiful book written by Michael Singer, giving credit to the author. Guys, welcome. It's a yes. This is I'm just going to lower my voice down via Zoom because it's echoing. So I need to be able to today talk about chapter 9 of the book. Yeah, just a little bit of story behind the book. I'm very passionate about life coaching. I'm very passionate about self-development, and I thought, well, I'm going to I just come across this book with one of my students. I teach driving instruction and life coaching. So one of my students said, "Look, you probably benefit from this book." I don't know how he aligned with the power of this book. And each chapter is just like totally amazing. It kind of builds on one chapter to the next, and I like to talk about chapter 9 for removing your inner thorn. I'll just lower my voice down because I can still hear myself. That's it. So it's recording live, and yeah, I'm going to give a spin. So just to also introduce you to something else, and you're most invited. You're most welcome to join. If you're from Sydney, Australia, if you want to join we call it the Untitled Soul study group. We particularly connect with others and learn the values of each chapter. We converse, we relate, we talk. How does that, how's this chapter touched you in a way, and how empowering, and what were you empowered about when we read the chapter? Also connect in a way via Zoom collectively, and and just enjoy the idea of learning collectively. You can kind of say, collective empowerment, and I'm visualizing there'll be like a coach, a psychologist, coming on board in the future. Well, so far we've got 60 members, and you're all welcome to come along, have a visit. I'm going to be putting this on Facebook too, this recording, and yeah, I'll put a link underneath, and yeah, put a link, and whoever feels the calling or something's calling you to join, if you're feeling this, if you want to know how your mind works and how to feel the triggers, the emotional upsets and disturbances, and you want to feel that, and we want to be able to not get to a level of ton exploding or exciting, the shadow part of us, not the lightness. We want to be able to go into light and continue. Now, the problem with that challenge is that life works in duality, but the idea is to practice and practice and practice being light, and knowing when, having the tools not to having the tools to be conscious of our consciousness, having the tools to, really think, like when we are making decisions or when we are self-talking or the inner voice, really be sensitive to that and know who is really talking to us. You might think that you're talking to yourself, but many times you're not. There's something else out there, and the idea through this book is to really be the witnesser or the observer of our thoughts, and create the mental clarity and just have a life of easiness and less struggle. I mean, that's really what it's all about. Yeah, maybe I should start with the back of the book. I'll just have a read and look at the chapter. So it says, "Who are you really?" in the back of the book. Michael Singer says, What would it be like to be free from limitations and soar beyond your boundaries? Yeah, we have boundaries. The boundaries are all mental stuff, our stuff. What can you do each day to find the kind of inner peace and the inner freedom? And in this book, The Untethered Soul offers a very simple, profound, intuitive answer to these questions. Whether this is your first exploration of inner space or you devoted your life to the inward journey, this book will transform your relationship with yourself and the world around you. Now, how powerful is that first paragraph? You know, a relationship within ourselves and also the world around you. What would it be like to be free? You know, untethered, soul to be free. I know that our minds are not always free because you can't do that. You can't really get rid of the ego. But imagine having some control and knowing your triggers once again. So he goes on, the untethered soul begins by walking you through your relationship with your thoughts and emotions, helping you uncover the source and fluctuation of your inner energy. It then delves into what you can do to free yourself from habitual thoughts, emotions, and energy patterns. We'll explore, and it explores lots of energy patterns in the books that limit your consciousness. Finally, with a perfect clarity, this book opens the door to a life lived in the freedom of your innermost being. Beautiful book. It goes on. Now, what's this? East is east and west is west. Michael Singer bridges these two great traditions. So Michael's been a Buddhist. He studied Buddhism and, Eastern philosophy. And he's put something beautiful together in this book, and how to succeed in life on a spirit, and whoever is on their spiritual quest, on their journey and their tribulations. There's a lot of Freudian stuff here. Freudian said that life was composed of love and work, with great eloquence, wit, and compelling logic. And Singer's brilliant book completes this through by showing them to be two poles of the same selfless devotion. So this is Ray Kurzweil, inventor, National Medal of Technology recipient, and author of The Age of the Spiritual Machine, and also the Singularity is Near. So there's a little bit about this book. As I said, I actually got addicted to it. And the first chapter that was folded for me, I just picked up a book like this, and the first chapter that came up to me was chapter 5. And chapter 5 has been one of my chapters that I said, wow, I need to really dig deep into this book and really find things that I could utilize, I can share with, I can teach, bring it to the surface for everyone to see and witness and just practice. It's all about practice. And the topic is infinite energy. And I know a lot of people have said that why is this button on? Move thing. Said that I'm going to see if it's still recording. Witness and just practice. I must have gone to the wrong button. Anyway, we'll see what happens. Maybe you can, lip read if the volume's gone down on it. We'll see what happens. This is my first trial, and I'm just, going on about how important it was to have infinite energy. Where does that come from? How important is it to keep our ourselves opened and not closed, and that kind of strengthens or increases our energy. And it's such a great reading. And so I was addicted to this particular chapter. The page is folded just like that. It's folded when I was given this book to read by one of my lovely students. Thank you, Frankie, and loving the book, and look where it's gone. Look where this is taking me. created a Facebook a group with the name of the title, and I have to say that this group is not just a study group, but it's international study groups are taking shape and taking form. And I've noticed that a lot of our leaders in the spiritual realm are, raving about this book and creating some wonderful stuff, sharing out of it, group collective sharing. Let's all live together. Let's all not live together. Let's all be like totally free of the soul as much as the mind's possible. So yeah, I'm just going to have a bit of a read. I'm going to have a read of the chapter that I'm actually on, 9. And if I find something that's really, excites me, what I'll do is I'll, really pause there and think about it. And whatever values I find out as I'm channeling this book, I'm going to be channeling right through. So I'm going to give this book a little bit of just sit here and feeling the energy. Words are powerful. Books are all energy. Everything's energy. And this book is so energetic. And let's see what I can channel. So here we begin. Lower the volume down because I can hear myself. Maybe a bit. So I'll start off. Chapter 9, removing your inner thorn. The spiritual journey is one of constant transformation. In order to grow, you must give up struggles to remain the same and learn to embrace the change in all times. One of the most important areas requiring change is how we solve our personal problem. Yeah, there are ebbs and flows. We normally attempt to solve our inner disturbances, I like that, by protecting ourselves. This prior chapter talked about how we are so conditioned to protect ourselves. What would happen if we didn't protect ourselves and just be loose for that? Interesting. Real transformation begins when you embrace your problems as agents of growth. In order to understand how this process works, let's examine the following situation. Imagine that you have a thorn in your arm that directly touches a nerve. How painful will that be? When the thorn is touched, it is very painful because it hurts so much. The thorn is a serious problem. It's difficult to sleep because you roll over on it. It's hard to get close to people because they might touch it. It makes your daily life very difficult. You can't even go for a walk in the woods because you might brush against the thorn and those branches. This thorn is a constant source of disturbance, and it's like life. And so to solve the problem, you only have 2 choices. First choice is to look at your situation and decide that since it's so disturbing when things touch the thorn, you need to make sure nothing touches it, protecting it. The second choice is to decide that it's so disturbing when things touch the thorn, you need to take it out. Yep, I've had that experience. Believe it or not, the efforts of choice you make will determine the course of the rest of your life. This is one of the core level structural decisions that lay the foundation of your future, or of your future. Let's begin with the first choice now and explore how it will affect your life. If you decided to keep things touching the thorn, then that becomes the work of a life. If you want to go for a walk in the woods, you'll have to thin out the branches to make sure you don't brush against them. Since you often roll over and touch the thorn when you sleep, you have to find the solution for that as well. And perhaps, you could design an apparatus that will act as a protective device. If you really put a lot of energy into it and your solution seems to work, you would think that you have solved, your problem. You'd say, I can't sleep now. And guess what? I got to go on TV to give a testimonial. Anybody who has the thorn problem, can get very protective device and even get paid to work. So now you've got a whole life built around this thorn. And you're proud of it. You keep the wood thinned out and you wear the apparatus to bed and at night. But then you have a new problem. You fell in love. This is a problem because your situation is hard, even huge. Nobody can touch you because you might touch the thorn. So you find another kind of device that allows closeness amongst people without actually touching. Eventually, you decide you want the total mobility without having to worry about thorn anymore. You may make a full-time device that doesn't have to be unstripped at night or changed over for hugging and other daily activities. But it's heavy, so you put wheels on it, control it, and hydraulics, and install collision sensors. It's actually quite an impressive device. Of course, you had to change the doors in the house so that the protective apparatus could get through. But at least now you can live the life. You can go to work, go to sleep, and close to people. So you announce to everyone, I have solved this problem. My problem. I'm a free being. I can go anywhere I want. I can do anything I want. This thorn used to run my life. Now it doesn't run anything. The truth is, the thorn completely runs your entire life. It affects all your decisions, including where you go, whom you're comfortable with, and who's comfortable with you. It determines where you're allowed to work, what house you can live in, and what kind of bed you sleep on at night. When it's all said and done, that thorn is running every aspect of your life. It turns out that the life of protecting yourself from your problem becomes a perfect reflection of the problem itself. You didn't solve anything if you don't solve the root cause of the problem. Yeah. But instead, attempt to protect yourself from the problem so much, it ends up running your life. I think that's a good point there. You end up so psychologically fixated on the problem that you can't see the forest for the trees. You actually feel that because you minimize the pain of the problem, you've solved the problem. But it's not solved. All you did was devote your life to avoiding it. And now the center of your universe, it's all there. It's all there is. All right. In order to apply the analogy of thorn to your whole life, we will use loneliness as an example. Let's say you have a very deep sense of inner loneliness. It's so deep that you have trouble sleeping at night. And during the day, it makes you very sensitive. You're susceptible to feeling sharp pangs in your heart, and that's quite a disturbance. You have trouble staying focused on your job, and you have trouble every day, interactions. What's more, when you're very lonely, it's often painfully difficult to get close to people. You see, loneliness is just like the thorn. It causes pain and disturbance in all aspects of your life. But in the case of human heart, we have more than one thorn. We have sensitivities about loneliness, about rejection, about our physical appearance, and about our mental powers. We are walking around with lots of thorn touching right against the most sensitive part of our hearts. At the moment, someone can touch them and causes pain inside. So we continue to keep practicing, protecting our thorn. You have the same two choices with these inner thorns as you did with the thorns in your arm. Surely it was obvious that you would have been much better off taking out that thorn. There's no reason to spend your life protecting the thorn from getting touched when you can just remove it. Once the thorn is removed, you're truly free of it. The same is true with your thorn. They can be removed. But if you choose to keep them without being disturbed by them, you must modify your life to avoid the situation that would stir them up. Now, if you're lonely, you must avoid going to places where couples tend to be, right? If you're afraid of rejection, you must avoid getting too close to people. If you do this, however, it is for the same reason that you thinned out the woods. You're attempting to just adjust your life to make allowance for your thorns. In the early example, the thorns were outside. Now they're inside. When you are lonely, you find yourself pondering what to do about your loneliness. What is it that you can say or do in order to not feel so lonely? Notice that you aren't asking how to get rid of the problem. You are asking how to protect yourself from the feeling. There's the key there. You do this either by avoiding situation or by using people, places, and things as protective shields. You're going to end up just like the person with the thorn. The loneliness will run your entire life. You'll marry a person who makes you feel less lonely, and you'll think that's the natural norm. But it's exactly the same as a person who's avoiding the pain of the thorn instead of taking it out. You have not removed the root of the loneliness. You have only attempted to protect yourself from feeling that loneliness. Should someone die or leave you, or the loneliness would again disturb you, the problem will be back the moment the external situation fails to protect you from what's inside. If you do not remove the thorn, you will end up responsible for both the thorn and everything you pulled around yourself in an attempt to avoid it. You'd be fortunate enough to find someone who manages and diminishes the feeling of loneliness. You will then begin worrying about keeping your relationship with this person. You've managed to compound the issue by avoiding the problem. It's exactly the same as using the apparatus to compensate for the thorn. You have you have to adjust your life accordingly. The minute you allow the core problem to stay with you, it expands out into multiple problems. It wouldn't drawn onto just get rid of it. Instead, the only solution you see is to try to avoid the feeling, and you shut down that feeling. Now you have no choice but to go out and fix everything that affects it. You have to worry about how you dress and how you talk. Yep. You have to worry about what people think of you, and because that could affect your feeling of loneliness or need to love or need for the love. If someone is attracted to you and this eases your feeling of loneliness, you wish you could say, how do I need to act in order to please you? I can be any way you want. I just don't want to feel these periods of loneliness anymore. More like people pleasing there. You now have this burden of worrying about the relationship. It creates an experience of underlying tension and discomfort when we're not authentic, it's saying here. And it can be even affect our sleep at night. The truth is, however, the discomfort you're experiencing isn't actually the feeling of loneliness. All right, here we go. It's the never-ending thoughts of, I did say the right thing. Did I say the right thing? Sorry. Does she really like me? Or am I just kidding myself? The root problem is now buried under all these shallow issues that are all about avoiding the deeper one. Wow. It all gets very complicated. People end up using their relationship to hide their thorns. If you care for each other, you're expected to adjust your behavior to avoid bumping into each other's spots. That is what people do. They let the fear of their inner thorns affect their behavior. They end up limiting their lives, just like someone living with an external thorn. Ultimately, there is something disturbing inside of you. You have to make a choice. You can compensate for the disturbance by going outside and attempt to avoid feeling it. Or you can simply remove the thorn and not focus your life around it. Do not doubt your ability to remove the root cause of your disturbance inside of you. It really can go away. You can, look deep within yourself or the core of your being and decide that you don't want to, you don't want the weakest part of you running your life. You want to be free of it. You want to talk to people because you find them interesting. Not because you're lonely, because you find them interesting. You want to have a relationship with people because you generally like them, not because you need them to like you or to be liked. You want to love because you truly love, not because you need to avoid your inner problems. How do you free yourself? In the deepest sense of you free yourself by finding the self, yourself. Okay, so you're not the pain you feel, nor are you the part that periodically stresses out. None of these disturbances have anything to do with you. You are the one who notices these things. Can we get that? You are the one who notices these things. You're not the real part of it. You have to get to the point where you are just the observer and the witnesser. Because your consciousness is separate and aware of these things. You have to separate your conscious to, the things he's saying here. You can free yourself. To free yourself of your inner thorn, you simply stop playing with them. Now, the more you touch them, the more you irritate them. Because you're always doing something to avoid feeling them, they're not given the chance to naturally work themselves out. Now, that's good. To naturally work, we're always avoiding, that's what he's saying. If you want, you can simply permit the disturbance to come up. And you can let them go. Yes, the power of letting them go. In the last chapter, we talked about learning how to let things go. And that was interesting. In this chapter, and this says if you want, we can simply permit the disturbance to come up, and we can let them go. Now, since your inner thorns are simply blocked energies, and from the past, they can be released. How powerful is that? To be able to unblock our natural energy systems, from our body, whatever is there, whatever's been collected over many years, to be able to do that and know how to do that. And this is what this book's about. I just stopped there because that's what this book tells you. To learn how to unblock those unwanted energies, blocked energies that disturb us, they create disturbance and triggers. And so it says to release. The problem is you either completely avoid situations that will cause them to release, avoidance, denial, or you push them back down in the name of protecting yourself. So you got to ask the question, why are we feeling that we need to protect ourselves all the time? I mean, here I am, feeling that I am doing a live YouTube clip and reading this book, wonderful book. And again, those who have just joined in, it's from the Untitled Soul, the journey Beyond You from Michael Singer. Great book, and you can get this from Amazon, anywhere, international book, worth every cent that you invest on this. Perfect read, but it needs to be practiced consistently and diving deep into it. So let's go read a little bit more. Suppose you're sitting at home, watching TV. Yep, very similar, but I'm not watching TV because I'm sharing. There's two types of people here, rather providers information or consumers information. And if I'm going to consume information, I definitely want to be, reading this guy, reading this book. That's my kind of TV. So, yep, all right, Netflix sometimes good fun, but man, I want to put stuff in this head and in my mind. And everything we do is programmable. Yeah. Cognitive dissonance is the name we call programming, social mass programming. So anyway, lost myself there a little. Let's go back. Something about TV. You're enjoying the program until the two main characters fall in love story. Suddenly, you feel loneliness, but there's no one around you to give you that attention, your attention that you're needing. Interestingly, you were fine just a few minutes ago. Wow, stuck energy there. This example shows that the thorn is always in your heart. It's just not activated until someone or something touches it. Now you feel the reaction as a hollowness or a dropping sensation into your heart. It feels uncomfortable. The sense of weakness comes over you, and you begin thinking about other times you were left alone and for people, who have hurt you. Stored energy from the past releases from the heart, and that closes the heart. And that's when we talk about energies earlier. You have lack of energy. If we can keep an open heart, there is just so much energy out there, and we heal so much quicker. That's the key there, right there, to one of the healing principles of life. Disciplines, to be able to discipline ourselves, to keep our hearts open. One of these chapters did talk about the secret open heart. Anyway, going back, release from the heart and generates thoughts. Now, instead of enjoying TV, you're sitting alone, caught in a wave of thoughts and emotions. You've disappeared. You've gone out. Your thoughts have gone somewhere else. You've been captivated. You've been captured. We've been captured by the TV, the love story, feeling loneliness. So what can you do in the book? And he says, and goes on in this paragraph, what can you do to solve besides eating something, calling somebody, or doing something else that might quiet it down? His thoughts he's talking about. What you can do is notice that you noticed. Wow. I'll repeat that. What you can do is notice that you've noticed. How powerful is that? You can notice that your consciousness is watching TV. Now it's watching your inner melodrama. The one who sees this is you, the subject. What you are looking is at an object. Yep. Feeling of emptiness is an object. Now, what does it mean? What do you think it means by saying that? The feeling of emptiness or loneliness is just like an object. Objective, it is something you feel, but who feels it really? Your way out is to just notice who's noticing. That's the key there. Your way out is just to notice who is noticing. It's not you. It's not me. It's like being, I'm doing this. I'm reading this. I'm into this, but I'm not noticing myself doing this until I replay this. That's kind of interesting when you're actually doing presentations and recording stuff, and then you re-listen to it, and you just realize that, wow, I've just noticed myself. But in that time, I didn't notice anything. I was just going on with it. I was in the consciousness of what I'm doing, whether reading a book or whatever it is, even watching that movie. I love movies, a love story. So going back to it, it's really that simple. There he goes again. It is much less complex than the protective apparatus that we have around us or instilled on us, not wanting to take that off, with all its balls and bearings, shingles and all that sort of stuff, wheels and hydraulics. All we have to do is just notice it and feel, and who is that? Who is that feels the loneliness? Who is that? Yeah, who is that that's feeling the loneliness? Nice one. The one who notices is already free. If you want to be free of these energies, you must allow them to pass through you instead of building them inside of you. Ever since you were a child, says, you've had energies going on inside. Wake up and realize that you're in there and you have the sensitive person in there with you. Simply watch the sensitive part of you feel disturbance. See it, feel jealousy and need and fear. These feelings are just part of nature of a human being. If you pay attention, you will see that they are not you. I love the way it says that. If you pay attention, you really see that they're really not you. They are just something you're feeling and experiencing. Just here to have a human experience. You are the indwelling being that is aware of all this. But our super consciousness, takes us away. We have that power of attention, to focus and take us away to something else. And then we forget about to do this. So don't just pause there for a bit, because it's all a matter of practice. Once again, I kept saying this, and we got so much competing things that we're doing up there, creating a living, looking after families, many things. The do list is endless, so it's infinite, and we get confused. We forget to come back to chapters like this and practice the power of what he just said. Just to feel that, it's just an experience, and to be able to step aside sometime. The term in most life coaches that say, you got to step aside of yourself. That's what that means, to move aside of yourself. We are too much in our heads, too much. I do a lot of meditation. I do have a meditation. It's called the countdown, and it is designed to actually allow us to not be so much in our head, or destroy the patterns of the self and the constant, and something that's just going on and on without stopping that thought, and wonder like who's in our head, and how many flatmates do we live with up here. So who's your flatmate? What's the voices we're hearing? Is it, we can get so confused, we can get thrown in that chaos of feeling that we are that, but we're not. We're just an experience, having an experience. Anyway, I'll go back. You are a dwelling being that is aware of all this, and if you maintain your center, I love that. You maintain your center of consciousness, so you can learn to appreciate and respect even difficult experience in its life. For example, some of the most beautiful poetry, music have come from people who were in turmoil. You see that? From chaos, we can find order. That's what he's saying. Great art comes from the depths of one's being. You can experience these very human states without getting lost in them or resisting them. Now, you can notice that you notice, and I love that, you can notice, I will slow down, you can notice that you notice, and just watch how experiencing loneliness affects you. Yeah, don't get sucked into that. Yeah, there's many wonderful things to do. Yeah, I'd like to share something. And this is another plug for another beautiful thing that I'm also doing at the moment. And it started out in the States. It's a platform called Focus Mate for people who find it difficult to sit still and do a task, or goal. And It's got a very, as you do these, you actually have all the chemicals reacting, all the endorphins, dopamines, and all that sort of stuff, and helping you to conquer things. And you work with the buddy system on the other side of the computer like this, and we'll help each other and support each other and become accountable for each other's production, and we get things done. So if we have a feeling lonely, there's so many things to do. Start getting comfortable, like, go and take yourself for a date. I know that I kind of was like that. I felt like, wow, I feel strange going to the cinemas by myself, having a cup of coffee somewhere by myself. That is such a beautiful time. We can just spin our minds. I'm just having this experience. I want this inner experience. I want this self experience. Sometimes you just need that space, right? Especially even in relationships, you want that space sometimes because, in every relationship, there's always the ebbs and flows, there's always something that, goes somewhere else. And we don't want to be stimulated by that. Yeah. So, yep, you can notice that you notice and just watch how experiencing loneliness affects you. Yep. Does your posture change? I'm correct my posture a little bit. I'm comfortable here. Do you breathe slower or faster? What goes on when loneliness is given the space and needs to push through you? How about that? Imagine that. Yeah, imagine that, giving yourself that space to push through your loneliness and accepting that and loving that idea that you're not your loneliness. There's a different definition of being lonely and loneliness or alone. Really, no one's alone. Like I love walking amongst trees. I'm very fortunate to live near a beautiful park in the inner city. If it was in America, I'd probably call it Central Park. I just love my trees. I have particular trees, and I have one that I named called Airy. That's a name. And I looked up the dictionary. It just showed me that is are high places of birds of prey, like eagles who soar up in the sky, and they live at the top. And they are seers, and they're not lonely, even though they hunt alone. They do alone for the birds. Amazing that the eagles are alone, except when they want to mate. So it's a bit different. But they hunt alone to do their own thing. So they are from high places. They see differently. They don't see like they look from a different level, different perspective. Beautiful. So we're now somewhere with that one. And we'll go. If you don't get absorbed in it, the experience will soon pass, and something else will come up. Giving that space to ourselves to feel that loneliness and process that. Yeah, just come up to something else, something called FOPIT. FOPIT stands for like, give yourself that space to feel it. It's that space. Give yourself that space to own it, and give your space that time to process it. Try going to the movies by yourself and do that. FOPIT. And just get used to it, enjoy it. It's just an experience. It's all we're here having, a human experience. Again, I lost my space, but no matter. If you can do this, you'll be free. And the world is pure energy will open up within you. Love that too. The more you sit in the self, the more you will begin to feel an energy soar and that you'll have never experienced before. It comes up from behind rather than in front or experience your mind and emotions. When you are no longer absorbed in the melodrama, that's beautiful. There's a lot of quotes, famous quotes by Michael, and this from Michael Singer. I'm reading from, for those who've joined me. One of his quotes is, he's always quoting about our melodrama. So when you are absorbed, when you're no longer actually absorbed, we give space to everything. Absorbed in the melodrama, instead, you sit comfortably deep inside the seat of awareness, of consciousness, and you will start to feel this flow of energy coming up from the deep within. This flow has been called Shakti or many type of names. Flow has been called spirit. This is what you begin to experience if you hang out with the self instead of hanging out with the inner disturbance. Oh, wow. Man, do I get that one? I'll get this, I'll probably forget it tomorrow, but I really get it right this minute, in the now. I really get what this is, what this is. Powerful. So this is what you begin to experience if you hang out with yourself, with the inner self, instead of hanging out with inner disturbances. Choice. Again, that's choice. Right. So this is what you begin to experience if you hang out with self instead of hanging out with the inner disturbance. I love repeating that. You don't have to get rid of loneliness. Nope. You just cease to be involved with it. That's like you choose to be involved with it. We choose to be involved with our own misery, around, our melodramas. It's just another thing in this universe. So much there in the universe, like cars, grass, the stars, so much beautiful things to watch and do. It's none of your business. Yep, none of your business. Just let things go. That's right. That's what the self does. Awareness does not fight. Awareness just releases. That's what it's supposed to do. Awareness is simply aware while everything in the universe parades before you. Well, imagine you're sitting here and allowing the universe just to parade and just go, I want that. I want to experience that. I want to experience that. Let it just parade and just watch it flow. Rather, sometimes, sure, our consciousness loves to attach to that. And I get that. Let it parade in front of you, but don't be so involved with it if you can. If you sit within the self, you'll experience the strength of your inner being, even when your heart feels weak. I'll pause there. This is the essence of the path. This is the essence of the spiritual life. Once you learn that it's okay to feel inner disturbances, the Navy SEALs know how to deal with it. Like anyone in the army, anyone SAS or whatever, rangers or whatever you might call it in your country, anyone of high quality, Marines, SEALs, anyone that has been taught, how to defend, how to protect. They feel they have that job, but they also need that mental state. They know how to feel and be, with their inner disturbances. And this is what this book actually teaches us, to focus, to note, not run away from it, but actually, feel, fop that inner disturbances, the melodramas that we're consistently creating for no absolute reason, whether through relationships or whether it's just part of nature, part of our life. It's phenomenal, the ebbs and flows of relationship, whatever it is, it's all there. So we need to learn to feel into those inner disturbances, and that they can no longer disturb your seat of consciousness. That seat of consciousness. You'll be free then. You will begin to be sustained by the inner energy flow that comes from behind you. When you have tasted the ecstasy of inner flow, it's addictive. I'll put that in. It's so addictive. What he's saying, that when you've tasted the ecstasy of inner flow, you can walk into this world and the world will never touch you. That's how you become free, a free being. You then transcend. Now, the other day I was trying to find, the definition of to be able to, the word transcend. It's the spiritual meaning of personal experiences of something that's phenomenal and something beyond us. That's what he's calling that. That's kind of, maybe living in enlightenment, No, it's not easy to do, but living at a state of being free of the mind. So, no, I really hope that that was fun. I hope you've all enjoyed that. I have. This is my consciousness, and I'm hoping that if you can think I've invested myself a wonderful investment of half an hour reading this, and that was just chapter 9. Again, total credit to the master. Wonderful book, and so much insight and knowledge, and just sitting here and sitting in this space on this energy of this book. Brilliant. I loved it. Looking forward to once again getting connecting. And the whole idea is, once again, if you look up the Untethered on Facebook, the Untethered Soul Study Project Australia, you'll find us there and join. You're most welcome to join. And we're definitely moving with this. And again, it's all practice, and all life is full of experiences. So wishing you a wonderful night, wonderful day, wherever you are in this country, in your part of the world, in your reality, in your universe, in this universe. So yeah, yes. So finishing up, freedom or peace begins with you, my friend. So, it's all an experience. Yeah, I think I've said enough. I really enjoyed it. Hopefully you can connect, and we're definitely going to go places with this wonderful book and further study. And wonderful stuff being out there. Just Google this book. Unbelievable. And it's relatively affordable. Okay, you can get this on Kindle. Yes, you can get this on Kindle, and I reckon it'd be somewhere like $10, and 2 cups of coffee, full of knowledge, but it's about applying and practicing. So bye from me. This is Nick here from Holistic Health and Fitness Coaching, and I've had a great time. And yeah, whoever's there, yeah, peace on this journey. Later. Thank you. Ciao.